I've seen us walking around.
Yes, I did see him.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing and honor those serving in the military. Great, thank you. The first thing we'd like to do tonight is swear in a new trustee, Bill Petta. Bill, you want to go on down? Or you want to swap again too?
I, William Petta,
I, William Pitta,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Code of the Village of Brightwaters,
the Code of the Village of Brightwaters,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of trustee
the duties of trustee
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Listed on everyone's packet is the listing of appointments. I'm not going to read through all the names. I just want to make a motion to approve the organizational minutes, including standards, resolutions, and appointments. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of board minutes for June 3rd, 2024. Do I have a second to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Suffolk County Police. Report, please. How you doing?
Yes, how are you?
Good evening for coming.
So we have, right now we're kind of changing over second car operator, so I'm filling in today, but I do work down here a lot, West Islip Bay Shore. So I can tell you current crime trends. It's kind of been for the last couple of years, but cars, a lot of people leaving keys in their cars. Guys drive around, they look for the mirrors on high-end cars, because when you lock them, Range Rover, BMW, Mercedes, they fold in. And if they're folded out, a lot of times that means they're at the very least not locked, so someone will go through it. If not, steal the cars. Not so much down here, but on Long Island we have seen sometimes if the cars are locked and the keys are visible, maybe a tree key right inside the door. There have been people, jiggling door handles of homes, so just be sure you lock your windows and your doors to the cars and the houses. Something that's kind of coming back up, and so it's always been, but catalytic converter thefts. It's mainly on Japanese cars, Toyotas, Hondas, Nissans. Normally we recommend don't park in the street, but I know you can't park in the street in Brightwaters anyway, so just leave those in the driveway, in the garage if you can. Those are the two main things we're seeing right now. Obviously, the 4th of July coming up, fireworks is always a concern. We'll have a presence in the area. We'll do what we can. Normally, there's so many calls. We try to answer them as quickly as we can in order to receive them. And obviously, just exercise care if anybody is going to handle a firework. So we don't have anybody blowing hands off or anything like that. Obviously, that's a concern. So, does anybody have any questions?
What are the questions for you, officer?
Yes, have you seen a number of thefts with the repeaters,
With the
the ignition repeaters?
that less here. We saw a lot in the city, but out here it's mainly keys left in the ignition. We rarely see that they have scanners. Unlock the cars remotely. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. While it does exist, we're not seeing it.
You know, in the village, we're always welcome the police to give tickets whenever they want for stop signs, speeding. You're more than welcome. So, come anytime. Thank you.
That is something I will address as well. Yeah, the stop signs. I know there are a lot of complaints. Was it Peters? They have a lot of the slow down signs, so we'll be out there on the stop signs and doing speed enforcement as well. Missy, your question?
Yeah, I think, well, Union is controlled by the Suffolk County Police.
Yes, it is.
So, right in the corner of Union and Windsor, there's a sign that says no right-hand turn between 7 and 7.
Okay.
I kind of wonder why that's even there, to say the truth, but everybody ignores it. I mean, very few people actually observe that sign. I mean, is that a necessary sign to actually be there?
Well, so we're not involved with the posting of signs. It's more of the county. So I can't answer that question. Most of the time when there are no turn on reds or no turn during certain hours, it's because it's a blind turn or because of the sun. So at a certain time, if you declare the sun and it's blind, it becomes a blind turn when it wouldn't normally. If that sign is up, you know, obviously obey. It's there for your safety and the motorist's safety. But I will keep that in mind, and I'll hang out over there and observe and see if anybody's running that.
People in trouble, but I mean, it's just like they say that more people just go through it than don't.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
you know,
I'll spread the word.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Sir.
So I apologize, I came in a little late for you. Mentioned this. What happened last week? There was a major accident right out here on the service road, right before you're going east, turning onto North Windsor. A bunch of fire trucks, police.
Do you know what time?
Evening time.
Evening time.
And I'm just wondering if something happened, because we have a turn signal that goes on the service road, it goes into North Windsor.
Right.
And then another turn signal after that. And people get into the turn signal to go into the North Windsor one, and then keep going to Howells.
Okay. Right under the overpass.
Yes, what happens is, let's say you're coming out of North Windsor, heading north,
Right.
and you see somebody with their blinker on, thinking they're coming down North Windsor, but they actually go straight. Just wondering if that was if something like that happened, because it's bound to happen.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the accident, but you know, I guess it's anybody's guess what it was. But nothing criminal, nothing of that sort. So probably just a regular traffic accident, if I had to guess. So, but that is a complicated intersection to navigate, for sure. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
John Sherrod, 490 Pine Acres. There seems to be a large number of electric bikes, scooters, and gas-powered off-road vehicles
Right.
being driven around.
Right.
What's the rules on that?
So that is illegal. We are not allowed to pursue non-cars, so motorcycles, ATVs, high center of gravity vehicles. So unfortunately, our hands are pretty tied with that. A lot of times we try to follow them and they get them when they stop, but unfortunately when they're on something this wide, they can get through traffic where we can't. But that is a county-wide issue, and that's very dependent on the laws right now as well. To deter that more than just a simple traffic ticket. But unfortunately, it is something that we see a lot, and our hands are tied with that.
How about the little kids, the 6 and 7-year-olds that are shooting around on these little toy ones almost?
Yeah.
You see them? Are they allowed to be in the street, or are they supposed to be on the property?
So there are basically requirements for the power on electric vehicles. So if it has a certain amount, a lot of times it's voltage with batteries, and then whatever, really whatever power it puts out. With gas-driven vehicles, most of those have to be registered if they're going to be on the road, with the exception of like a lawnmower or something of that nature, where it's really just purpose-built. But fast go-karts, quads, ATVs, if they are going to be on the road, they are supposed to be registered. Golf carts, for example, are supposed to be registered if they can be on the road. But the little bikes, like a Razor scooter, those are allowed to be on the road.
Okay.
They're under the same classification as a regular kick scooter or a bicycle.
Okay. Any other questions in the audience? Okay, great, thank you. Thank you for your time. Okay, report to the mayor and the trustees. Trustee Fawcett,
Thank you very much. My new role since Bill's got to take care of doing DPW now, which is fun. The village DPW has been very busy every month, as you all know. Routine maintenance continues to happen. Obviously, they bring their storm drains after each time we get a bad rain. They did a huge job trimming all the trees. Actually, something that neighbors weren't too happy about, the trimming of the trees on the service road, but they took care of that in preparation for our paving. There was 3 collapsed drains. Basically, what that is we have a dry well, and we have a ring, and then our drain on top of it. Over time, the drain compresses on the ring, so the whole thing has to be pulled up and replaced. Obviously, you can see that we have camp now, so they took care of Pacific Park. They did a nice job getting that ready for camp. Every day, without fail, they take our new bucket truck down and they clear the seaweed out of Walker Beach. They do that every morning. Replaces rotted dock letters on the concourse. Those are safe for safety reasons. Somebody decided that they wanted to plant some bamboo down by the kayaks, so they removed that. So whoever did that, please don't do that. That's illegal. And they also removed several geese. So what we're saying is the baby geese are in the main lake. They get sucked in the waterway. They get sucked underneath the street, and then they're stuck in there because they don't realize they have to go through the drain out into the canal. So we had a couple issues there. Painted the cascades, and then they did safety trimming where they went around all those stop signs and trimmed the trees back so that everything looked good for our residents and made it safer. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
great, thank you. Trustee Bennett? Slacker. All right, thank you. Welcome, Bill. Put you to work.
Thank you very much.
All right, Trustee Del Vecchio?
Events. I'm only going to talk about July events. So we have every Thursday night after this Thursday, which is the 4th of July. We won't be doing it. We have our Walker Beach Family Nights. Last Thursday had a great turnout, perfect weather, and the Brightwater's Deli was selling food. I'm just seeing if I got the food truck scheduled. Okay. So each Thursday we're going to have a food truck, and we have music on July 11th and July 18th, and there will be an on-site food truck both of those Thursdays in July. We're also doing it in August. The other things that are happening in July, we have the Maggie Fisher Memorial Cross Bay Swim, July 9th, and then July 19th, please start getting your tickets now for Cocktails on the Canal, and that's a 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock event at the head of the canal. If you've never been, please come for a visit. It is a fabulous event to get to know your neighbors and just enjoy the beauty of our village.
Just to add to one event, a week from today at the library on July 8th, the Historical Society, in conjunction with the Art Council, are having like an anniversary groundbreaking day. So today they were over there decorating the viewing boxes there, and the Art Council was putting up their photos. So for not only photos but artwork. So for the entire month of July, the library is dedicated to the village of Brightwater. So a week from today, Dottie is one of the main people running the event. There's going to be a presentation. There's going to be some food, and it's going to be a great gathering for the neighbors. And that's what time does that start, Dottie, next week?
It starts at 6.
Starts at 6 a week from today, and that's for all ages. So that'll be a nice event.
One more plug. This fall for the Pumpkin Run, we are looking for volunteers to help organize the event. If you are at all interested, I promise the job won't be too large if you get enough people. Please reach out.
Okay, great. Trustee Zett?
Please. Just had a question about the Walker Beach Nights. Are they all 6 to 8?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it possible to change that to 5:30 to 7:30?
It's still dark.
Still no?
It's still dark too.
Yeah, the musicians pretty much play to the crowd. So if people are into it and not going anywhere, they'll play at 8:30. Starting any earlier, if you get there at 5:45 now, there's nobody there. Everybody from work, from being busy. So they shoot for 6 o'clock. Generally, the food is ready at 6 o'clock, so wherever, whether it's a deli or a food truck or somebody else, it's ready to go. So you can get there as early as you'd like, but
Nice job.
you know, music and stuff
You
starts at
should
6.
get there early because last Thursday it
I
was
saw.
packed.
So, okay, sorry.
That's all right. Good evening, everybody. We welcome Bill tonight. Thanks for joining. I also just want to give a big thank you to Mike Topsovich, who his term just ended. So, Michael, on TV, thank you, buddy, for doing so much. We appreciate you putting such a great effort in for the past couple of years. Building department, Bob O'Shea was very busy last month. A total of 17 permits were issued, including building, plumbing, and fences. There are 7 appearance tickets for July, the July 10th date for court. The Board of Appeals was busy also. They just approved 3 applications for area variances. 2 major projects. The houses on Windsor and Montauk Highway are proceeding slowly, but they are proceeding. And I don't know if Pat, you mentioned this already, but the construction of the new highway yard building is complete other than the installation of the water service. That's the last piece to that puzzle. And again, we are interviewing still more code officers. I think there were 2 meetings last week, 2 interviews, I should say, and 1 more tomorrow. So we're doing our best to fill the holes. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, any resident who knows anybody locally who's looking for a job, we're looking for people to do code. You know, we're short 2 people now. You know, every time we turn around, someone's leaving. So we had a pretty empty weekend. There was nobody on Saturday during the day, and Sunday during the day, Friday night until 12 o'clock. So we have a lot of openings. So we need to fill these holes. So I know the office, Nicole, I think, did you guys interview someone again today? Or?
Yeah, we did, not today, yesterday.
Yesterday.
5 minutes ago.
So,
We had someone, in training, but,
But we will put out another thing. We'll put out another thing to the residents because the more we have, the better. Because it's hard. Because then Tom and I are running around.
I got somebody in 2 weeks once he gets out of the woods.
Once he gets out of the woods. All right. All right. Thank you, Tom. All right. Now, as far as my report, when people came in the front door, there's a group of 3 scouts who did their Eagle project. One did the bricks, one did the flagpole, and the other one did the benches. And we coordinated with them, and now we have a great new front entrance. You know, Bob's helped out with his design. Charlie Haywood helped out. A couple, I'm not sure their last name, but we'll put a thank you out to them. They donated some money towards the project, but it's been long overdue. The flagpole there was an old wood flagpole, and their string actually broke around 2 months ago, so it's like really good timing that happened. So we just have to do some painting and some landscaping, but the front looks great. Another scout just finished his project. He donated a bench at Walker Beach. So the scouts do help out in the area. We have a lot of projects going on. We have more projects going on working with Mary. So, you know, again, we really appreciate them filling up a lot of the gaps.
Also, if you need project ideas,
Right, right. Okay, I mean, I mentioned next Monday, mentioned code guys, cocktail party, Thursday nights. So that's all I have for my report.
Did you want to talk about the road paving?
Yeah, I guess we can. The road paving, we went through all the service roads. We cleared them all out with anticipation of starting the project last week.
Yep.
Unfortunately, National Grid found out there's a leak in one of those roads, which delayed the project. So one of the main roads, the one from Montauk Highway going north, the road that borders Bayshore and Brightwaters from Montauk Highway all the way up to Woodland, we can't do that one. That's one of the main problems. And then it continues from Woodland all the way to Union, and that can't be done either. The guys went through, we cleared everything, we were ready to go, and now all of a sudden we have a gas issue. So that area is not going to be done for at least 6 months.
for the same more or less a year.
Next year.
Yeah, so that was a last minute issue. So
Did anything answer back from?
I didn't hear back.
Okay, so one of the
I'm pretty
things-
sure that it was gonna work.
So one of the things we try to do whenever a utility comes in and lifts up our roads is have them pay for the road. So they do 2 phases. One, they come in and do a salt patch, let it sit, and then they come in and repave. So we're trying to find out if they're going to replace that gas main, which they'll probably lift the whole thing out. Are they gonna pay for it? If they're not gonna pay for it, they're just gonna be patchwork, give us the money so we can put it towards the whole road. So hopefully we can get an answer one way or another.
Yeah, they've done that before.
You know, we were all ready to do all the service roads. They haven't been done in 25 years. The average life of a road is supposed to be 15 years. They haven't been done in over 25. So we were ready to do it all, and we cleared all the runways, and we're ready to go, and then we have this gas issue. Fortunately, we found out now the problem when we did Pine Drive. We did Pine Drive, and then they told us later, was that the water company or the gas? I don't remember. But either way, we were told that we did the work, and they had to rip it up again, and then we fixed it again. So they paid for it at least. So again, it's a disappointment on our part, but right now it's scheduled for next week.
The July 8th.
So, but we will give people warnings, because a lot of people use the service roads as their driveways, so we'll let them know. So as the week goes on, we'll inform the residents in the area. Okay? All right, listen on that. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing on two stop sign locations. One of the stop signs is on, well, both of them on Orinoco. One is on the corner of Richland and Orinoco. It's where they're doing the new, what's that? No, Pine Acres, I'm sorry, you're right. Pine Acres and Orinoco. Yeah, that's where the new bank, the old bank is, the apartments, that corner, and then Manitowoc and Orinoco. My office is in town now. I see people buzzing by. We've had conversations with some of the owners, the property owners, and the idea is just to slow down the whole area, just make it more pedestrian friendly. And we know we have issues with people going through stop signs, but if we could slow them down in front of the apartments, slow them down as they approach the town, then maybe at least we have a safer walking environment. We got letters from the property owners on the corner of Pine Acres and Orinoco, and we got letters from the apartment owners on the corner of Manitowoc and Orinoco. Before I open it up to the residents, may the board members like to comment?
Yes, I actually would like to see those letters because the
You have them
issue,
in your packet.
Okay. would like to see them before right now, but the issue I have on Orinoco is two things. One is if we start putting stops on every corner of Orinoco, you're going to start pushing that more into the residential. Right now, that's a pathway that a lot of commercial traffic will come down. And if we just put stop signs everywhere, what you're doing is you're just pushing the problems down in different blocks. So my concern is, and I didn't see any letters until right now, is that other than this board wanted to do it, was anybody else in favor of that?
Well,
So-
we have the letters from the property owners on those corners, Pat.
Okay, well, I walk down there all the time. I've never seen a problem there. But that's it.
All right. Anybody else on the board have any comments?
Just when we open it up, sometimes what happens is people want to bring up other intersections. Let's try to stay focused on the ones that we're supposed to be talking about today. If you have other ideas about different intersections, a great time to bring that up is during public comment. So if we keep to what we're
Okay.
talking about with the local law, it'll stay focused today.
So you need a motion?
Okay, make a motion, open up a public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Anybody else on the board before we put it out to the public? Anybody in the audience would like to make any comments on these requests?
My office used to be 89 Orinoco Drive. Just like everywhere in Brightwaters, we have a speed issue. If our opposition to stop signs, just like the opposition to speed humps, is going to be that it pushes to somewhere else, the future, unfortunately, is going to be stop signs everywhere. So,
Do you have any comment on those two?
on those two, I recommend them. My office used to be right where that Wolf's building is right now, where the trucks are. There's commercial trucks there, and really, there's another issue: the fact that those commercial vehicles should be going toward Clinton and Fifth Avenue, and not toward the Four Corners. Every time we give a long distance for someone to go without stop signs, we increase the speed. So I'm for it.
Well, part of the stop sign is to discourage
Right.
trucks from coming through. So if they want to go to Fifth Avenue and go down Union, we're hoping that's the way. And then as the other end of Orinoco is developed on the west side, then we'll be focused on that. For right now, this area seems where we have our sights. Anybody else? John?
I think it'll.
John, if you could say your name and address, please.
John Corlito, 108 Orinoco. I think it'll go a long way to slow that traffic down. I think it's becoming very dangerous. I park my car across the street and they just zoom down and it's not only cars but motorcycles. There's a lot of trucks going in and out of there, and it needs to slow down. It's too much going on there.
John owns one of the apartment buildings.
I'm sorry?
I said you own one of the apartment buildings on
Right.
Manatee at Orinoco.
Right.
So, I mean,
Mark Bowley, South Avenue. I sort of agree with Pat. Orinoco is, aside from Union, is probably one of the main east-west thoroughfares through here, and a lot of traffic is on that road. The problem is with the businesses, I'm 16 is to, let's say, where the post office used to be, the bank used to be. That particular stretch gets a lot of traffic, and approach to it without the stop signs is bad enough with the blinking light that nobody seems to know how to negotiate, making it entrance onto Windsor. So the more stop signs, the more you slow it down, the more difficult it's going to be actually, I believe, to get through, literally through the village. As it is now, there are a number of times that I avoid going through downtown entirely. I either take Fifth Avenue or I go to literally Saxe Coast if I'm traveling a little further. I just won't do it, it's just too annoying. Between the parking on Windsor and Orinoco itself, it's just too difficult to add all these stop signs. It's just,
well, the idea is to slow the area down so that people do start
slow it down to
going.
stop where people stop coming, I think. It's,
Well,
I think people have to, you can't put a stop sign everywhere somebody says, oh, please put it there. There has to be some sort of logic behind it. It's like, oh, somebody might get killed. Somebody might get killed crossing Montauk Highway at a traffic light. What are you going to do? Put 2 traffic lights there?
well, the logic for this, Mark, is to slow down the whole entire downtown so that it's safe for pedestrians to cross the street. Right now, pulling out, I want you tomorrow, if you're not doing nothing, sit by the new apartments where Chase Bank used to be and just watch the cars zip by. And by sitting there for a couple of minutes, then maybe you'll be convinced that there's an issue there.
Going by in which direction?
East and west.
No, which specific direction? You tell me that.
Both.
So you tell me cars are speeding by, going from the bank
Yes,
to Windsor?
yes.
That's
No, you have to, that's what, my office is in Sunset Realty now. So I'm in Sunset, I look out the window, and it's amazing how stupid people are. So they just zip by both ways. And again, I'm more than welcome, I'll buy coffee for you, sit and watch, and then you'll see, Mark. Until you stop and observe, then you can really appreciate how people act. So,
Okay, well, on a side note, I don't know how long ago it was, but up in New England, there was a study done where they literally got rid of their stop signs because they're 4-way stop signs specifically. Because the thinking is that there's a presumption that people will uphold the law and stop. And they got rid of all of them, and the traffic accidents actually went down. Because all of a sudden people realize there are no stop signs. Then you have to pay attention when you actually get to the intersection. And in the past, people go, oh, it's got a stop sign. I roll through maybe at 10 or 15 miles an hour. Just a side point.
okay, thank you. I think you give people too much credit to. So, all right, but thank you, Mark. Anybody else on the stop signs, the 2 stop signs? 2 stop sign locations? Okay, I make a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, if it's okay, I'd like to vote on these. Make a motion to approve local law 3-2024 to amend 119-4, stop sign intersections designated to be added at 119-114 as follows. 201 Orinoco Drive, Manitowoc Boulevard, stop sign for traffic east and westbound on Orinoco Drive. 202 Orinoco Drive, 5 acres, stop sign for traffic eastbound, westbound on Orinoco. Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Aye. The next thing on the agenda is, it's called a CEQA designation. Charlie, you just want to...
Sure, Mayor, thank you. The pickleball application, we call it 245 Orinoco Drive, has, they had an original application, they withdrew it, and they re-envisioned it. That second iteration has gone through our CBA. It now must come to the Board of Trustees for site plan approval and special use permit approval. And as part of the environmental review process known as CEQA, I'm asking this board to pass a resolution declaring itself a lead agency under CEQA, which is a procedural mechanism and will allow us to move forward with that application.
Yeah, the application has not, the rest of the application has not come before the Board of Trustees yet. It's probably going to be in August or September, but this is just, again, like Charlie said, the CEQA application. All right, so I make a motion to adopt resolution 6-2024, CEQA designation for intent to make the Village of Brightwater's Board of Trustees the legal agency for 245 Orinoco Drive Pickleball Express project. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Just let the record reflect that trustee, that you recuse herself from that. So it's approved 4-0. Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is the resolution to approve some fee changes. We went through our fees. We've been looking through it for a long time. Everybody, the residents have it in their packet also. So we have some fee changes, little things here and there that add up in the end. We're trying to make ourselves a little bit closer to what other villages charge. We didn't go over what other villages charge. We stayed pretty far below. But some things that were very cheap for a lot of years. So, we're hoping that this brings us another $30,000 to $40,000. So, again, we've been talking about this for a couple of years. Anybody on the board have any questions on this?
Yeah, it's not to bring an extra $30,000 to $40,000 to make any profits, it's $30,000 to $40,000 to cover the expenses of doing business in the village.
It's long overdue.
Okay. Make a motion to adopt resolution 7-2024, proposed fee schedule. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next is to, this is for the paving project on the service roads. Permission to hire Suffolk Paving to mill and pave service roads, Plymouth Court and west part of Johnson Drive in the amount of $309,856 off the New York State contract. Revised map estimated attached to be reimbursed through the New York CHIPS program. Anybody have any questions on this?
Did we modify the budget, Nicole? Did we have to modify the budget?
I guess we can at some point, but I don't know if we want to use the remaining balance of chips at some point throughout the year, so.
How much money do we have in CHIPS? Do we have 350?
45,
Okay, so what has to be adjusted?
Because it's different scope.
We can wait till further down the year if you want to make a budget modification to see if we're going to do it or not, anything else.
Okay, but the other CHIPS money you're talking about?
Yeah, we have the chips money to cover this. I will
Okay.
have more.
Great. Okay. Make a motion to hire Suffolk Paving. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next is, we subbed out some of the cutting of trees in all the service roads. They worked in conjunction with our highway department. We had to cut back, again, 20-plus years worth of growth that inched out onto our roads. Some people weren't too happy, but it's something that we had to do. When the big trucks start going through, I believe there's even going to be more damage, but we did our best to clear the road so that the trucks can go through. So we brought in Andy from Holiday Tree Service to help us out with that project. So make a motion, permission to pay Holiday Tree Service in the amount of $9,000 for tree trimming and removal throughout the service roads in preparation for the road paving project. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye. Just note that was 3 different invoices, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Permission to enter into an agreement with Seatuck National Wildlife Refuge to allow dock space at Walker Beach Boat Basin for the power boat that they have. Well, we have our kayak and sailboat harbor. In the fall, the high school sailing team puts a center hole console there. So, Trustee Zepp, could you just explain their issues?
Sure. So Seatuck, they had a place in Iceland that was basically behind someone's house, and that house was sold. They were keeping it temporarily at the Iceland Marina, I believe, off of Maple in Iceland. They lost that spot. So they approached myself and they asked if we would allow them to keep their boat here in Bright Waters. In return, they're going to help us out with the lake, some of the issues that we have there. So I think that would be appreciated by the village. The use of that boat is not going to be for recreational purposes. They're doing a program with some of the turns on some of the islands in the bay. So every once in a while, they're going to be going out to those islands to do some research on the turns. Again, it's not like that boat's going to be in and out all during the week, partying on it or anything like that. It's literally just used for the Seatuck National Wildlife Refuge.
Yeah, Seatuck is a great local organization. I don't know if people know where they are, but this is going to be a nice working relationship with them as we go forward. Does anybody else on the board have any questions? Okay. Make a motion for permission to enter into an agreement with Seatuck National Wildlife Refuge to allow dock space at Walker Beach Boat Basin for power boat. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Mayor?
John,
There's no discussion on
this is your question of the.
It really is. All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's part of the agenda.
It's a board item, it's not really open for discussion tonight, it's at your discretion.
Is there an issue, Nick? I mean, do you have anything to point out? I'm sorry, Johnny,
Okay, I just want
I'm
to
sorry, I
ask.
was reading. I didn't
It's
see.
okay.
You gotta be loud about it.
Okay. A couple of meetings ago, somebody from the Lions Club came in and I guess asked if they could start doing some of the oysters off one of the docks. And I don't know if you had further discussion about that after that meeting?
We're waiting for them to come back to us. They haven't yet. So,
Okay, I wondered if that was going to be the same place.
no, they were looking to go up Gilbert Park. They were off Gilbert.
Oh, they were off
The
Gilbert,
Seatuck
okay.
boat is in the sailboat harbor right next to the beach.
Okay.
So they're
Okay.
tucked in there.
Okay.
I'm waiting for them to get back to us. They have not approached us yet with anything. So I thought they were hot and heavy and they were going to come back to us and they haven't yet. So
Okay.
as soon as we get information, we will share it. The next thing is around the lakes, we get a lot of overgrowth with the trees and bushes in the last couple of years. We've hired Greg Prost's company. His company now is called R Landscaping. What they do, they work in conjunction. We only have a 5-person crew now. So by subbing out some of these things, we give it a blast and we get things done. He'll come in with his crew, they'll prune everything, and then we'll take everything away and it's done. So it needs a lot of people. The lakes are going to be way overgrown. And I think he said he was going to come in this week. Now this week is next week. But he really's got to come in next week because it's starting to overgrow and block vision on different corners. So again, permission to hire our landscaping Inc. to prune overgrown shrubs around the lakes, $1,000 a day, which is a 4-man crew, not to exceed 7,000. Anybody on the board have any questions? Okay. Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next is one of the final payments over by the building, permission to pay All Island Plumbing Inc. for the Highway Yard Building sewer connection in the amount of $8,400. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Permission to pay TD Electric for final payment of electric installation in the amount of $16,125. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next is the insurance. Each year, Nicole looks to try to save money, goes out there, searches for the magic insurance company that's going to save us some money, and it doesn't seem to be happening anymore, right, Nicole? So we're trying to keep our increases to a minimum. So how much of it is 101 more than last year?
It was almost 100,000, it was like 99,000.
Okay,
something
so
like
a couple of thousand more.
that. Yeah,
Okay, so permission to pay Salino Insurance in the amount of $101,374.56 for municipal insurance renewal. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Also in everybody's packet, we have a listing of a lot of our bills and main things. Make a motion. Lance said if you have any questions, give us a shout during the open part of the meeting. I'm going to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and abstract. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'm sorry, did you second that?
Go give it to Bill.
Yeah. Okay. I've been informed that I have to name a deputy mayor again. Reigning deputy mayor Tom Sepp. Do you accept me as deputy mayor again?
I'd be on.
All right. Thank you.
With all the salary that comes with it.
That's for a one-year term. Congratulations.
Okay. Okay, before we open up to the public, is there anything else from the board that has to go out? Mention, Bill?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the residents for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to working with the board and the mayor to, make the village great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
All right, before I open up to the public, just when we do call you, please say your name and address, and then whatever topic you'd like to speak. Make a motion to open up to the public comment. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Would anybody like to start?
Okay, Dottie Point, Lakeview Avenue West, right, what is here? So, I know that so I'm concerned about the lakes. And I know that the machines, the budget, the concern the machines was nixed because of the expense or whatever. It was very expensive. I have a suggestion. Might sound kooky, but I think might be good. One of my friends who spoke to our historical society, and by the way, you should all come to those meetings because they're really great. So, please start coming to the historical society meetings. Anyway, he's a clamor for 40 years. And I said to Frank, hey, could you use your big gigantic rake and get those lily pads out, the long roots? He said, I could. And he goes, there's a concern about where I'd put them. And I said, well, the village would do that. I just assumed the village would clean that up, dispose of them, and also provide, he said I could do it on a dinghy. I said, well, I think the village has little rowboats, or I've seen little boats from the village, right, in the lakes.
We have a couple of small
Little
boats, yeah.
Right.
We have a barge, a flat barge that
A
people
barge
can
for
put
boats.
stuff on, and then we
Yeah.
pull it to the side.
But you know what? I think that it's worth trying to hire him, say for 5 days, and see what happens. I think you could get a lot of that out. We could get 2 clambers out with their big gigantic rakes. They could get a lot of those lily pads and the roots out, and cost a lot less money than hiring that machinery.
Well, the problem what you're saying is, if we abide by what the DEC tells us, we're not supposed to disturb the bottom.
I know. He doesn't have to go to the bottom.
We don't tell them we're going to the bottom?
He doesn't have to go to the bottom. He can just start seeing what happens. But if we don't do something with those lakes, it's going to turn into a marsh again in some years. And we don't want that. It's a beautiful area here in our village. So I think it's worth giving
I'm for
it a
it.
shot.
I'm all for it.
You like the idea of that?
Yep. I'm all
The
for
only
it.
problem is, if the DEC knows we're disturbing the bottom, then they could slap.
Well, what happened with the
come at-
machines? Did that disturb
The
you?
machine was harvesting, so in theory, the machine was just cutting and pulling up.
Frank could harvest
In
them.
theory, we were harvesting, not touching the bottom. But
Frank could harvest them.
we could have it, try it, I'm fine with that, but
Let's try it
we,
and see what happens.
I'll just be curious to see how well, because
Yeah,
you're using what's called a bull rig. They're about that big, that goes to the bottom, has a basket.
I know what you're talking about.
As being someone who went into like and pull these things out, I don't know how successful that's gonna be. Someone standing there pulling that, I don't.
Why don't we just give it a shot and
Give it a
see?
shot, right.
you know, if we put them in, say, Mirror Lake, which is isolated
Right.
side, is not going into the whole big thing. You know, we could talk to him, please have Gormy or,
Yeah.
please have Gormy, we'll go meet with them down there, some of the board members and
Yeah.
see. Again, when we tried the chemicals supposedly kill them and go to the bottom and feed the other ones.
Yeah,
So that's
not good.
one of our issues. When we had the company, Lake Solitude,
Yeah.
Lake Solitude Management, which is one of the bigger companies around, it was not good service, it was not good thing.
It was an individual, actually, we had the Lakeside Show under control, and he sold his company to Solitude. As soon as Solitude came in, we saw right away that we were wasting money.
In the very beginning, when we documented, if you go on the village's website, you can see the picture of what the lakes looked like, I think it was like 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, when the lily pads were just starting. At that time, the DEC says 20% coverage is not a problem. But then 20% becomes 40% quick. When if you dealt with it when it was 20%, you would have been ahead of the game. But we weren't supposed to do that. So trying to be nice and do what we're supposed to do, we didn't do it at the time. So now it's become a problem. You know, last year when we had the boat come in, we had the boat come in twice, and he did clear it off. It looked great. And then 6 weeks later, it was filled up again, and he was late in getting back to us because he was on other projects. So we weren't in control. So that's where, you know, if we would have bought the machine, there wouldn't be a lily pad in Lake Powell. So it's the cost of doing business.
John, can you comment on
Linda, could
how...
you do name and address,
Oh,
please?
I'm sorry, Linda Murphy, 97 South Windsor. Could you comment on how the DEC recommends that we mitigate that problem?
What was the last conversation, Pat? You don't remember?
So last conversation
Depends who you
was,
talk to.
yeah, so last conversation was we're allowed to hand brake, we're allowed to pull it by hand, which if you're pulling it by hand, you're disturbing the bottom, correct? So that's their rationale, as long as you're not using a machine. So, so that's why I said, I think this guy, I mean, according to the conversation I had, we're allowed to do it by hand, so then why can't we do it regular, right?
But we used a machine last year. for
We'll
this.
use the machine, but the machine didn't, so theoretically didn't touch the bottom. So that was the difference, so, so the reason.
Notice how we're being very careful what we're saying. Theoretically, we didn't touch the bottom, you know.
So, the problem with the machine is, and this is where John and I disagree, is the boat costs $160,000. Anybody that owns a boat.
$106,000.
Under what?
106,000.
Okay, $106,000 a year. It takes 10% of whatever your boat is to maintain it every year, and it's not solving the problem. All it's doing is making the lakes look nice. And it's not actually getting all of it, because the real issue is the lake between Norris Lake and the main lakes, because that's full of this algae that's below the surface, that's slowing the flow. And if we don't create a waterway that's moving, everybody that I've talked to, and I've talked to a lot of people, and Tom's talked to them as well with me, if you don't have water flow through there, what you're doing is allowing everything, the sediment, to go to the bottom, and you're perpetuating the issue of the nitrogen in there and having the lily pads. That's why it's gotten worse and worse over the time. So, my suggestion, drain the lakes. That's what they do in Jersey. They drain the lakes, they clean them up, and then refill them. I don't
That's
think- I don't-
disturbing the bottom, though. How does it, how's the
Well, it's not
DEC
really
okay
disturbing the
with
bottom
that?
because you're eliminating the water, right? And then nature dries it out and kills it. So that's what they do in Jersey.
So much wildlife in those lakes though.
You have
Those
to, you have,
50-year-old turtles and
you have to do it with one lake at a time. So, but that's, you know, the reality is that there's a lot of factors that have happened. We've lost our freshwater clams. We have a ton of nitrogen going into there. Our banks are disintegrating, so we have more water flowing from the roads into the lakes. So, you know, you can't just say one thing's gonna fix it. We can break the things, and we're gonna do a good job of really knocking it down, but we have to fix the banks around the lakes. We have to create better drainage paths for the water to go into the lakes. It's not just one thing, and you know, I'm happy to speak to anybody about it, but, you know, there's no silver bullet.
Do we know how other villages or other communities that have similar?
Yeah, Patchogue drained the river,
Really?
and they dredged it. That's what they did.
If you start touching the bottom, again, that's major DEC stuff.
Yeah.
So especially if you expose the bottom, they're going to want to test the bottom, and you're not going to want to hear what they're going to say. So there's either contaminated or they're super contaminated, and then next thing you know, it's a $2 million project to do it. So
I like the guy rating, and let's see what that does. I think that's a good sample size.
Ed Carroll, Lake County West. Last week, the Supreme Court ruled that these regulatory agencies can arbitrarily pass laws or regulations. It has to be, by law or a judge. I think that pretty much knocked the legs out of the DEC, so hopefully it'll help with the lake issue.
yeah, one of the interesting things with the DEC is depends which guy you get, and they're changing people all the time. So one year one could say something, and then next year the guy will contradict.
Right,
So-
because they're exactly right. So the Supreme Court said it's either in legislation or a judge rules on it. And a regulatory agency can't set rules anymore arbitrarily.
That was called the Chevron decision that I was referring to. That's a recent ruling's 3 days old, and it's to be tested. So right now the DEC is in place the way it normally is.
So did we knock the machine because of the expense? Because we're going to have somebody come and break things out. It kind of seems to me to have similar.
So the expense of the boat was over $40,000 last year.
When we rented it twice last year to come, if you add up all the time that they spent, the time that our guys spent, and the time of dumping it, it was $40,000. To purchase the boat, it's $106, but then you have, like John Catania, our recently retired foreman, he was learning how to do it when the guy was in. So my thought was to have him on the boat and try to, do it that way. Once we get control of our own lakes, then that leaves us open to maybe to lease it out to other people to try to get some of our own money back. But I don't have a vote. John?
Mayor John Cocker, Woodland Drive. Do you have a master plan for this lake cleanup? Or is it just right now as people notice?
Nope, there's no master plan right now, John.
Okay, how I got around it with the bay bottom leasing, when I started the bay bottom leasing 10 years ago, the deputy commissioner of DEC is a Brightwater's resident, and he helped me go through the whole bay bottom control, and how he worked that is with Cornell Blockman. Once I had Cornell involved, the DEC kind of let them be the administrator of how do we release on the bay bottom. So I think somebody's in the village got to contact Cornell because they have a little more power than CTOP in reference to waterways or wetlands. Because, Mayor, I've been walking there 20 years since I moved to Woodland Drive. It's not going to be a wetland. It's going to be a swamp. I mean, I can't, it's a beautiful lakes, and just going by today, something has to be done, and it has to be done, as Ed said, legally, if we can get past the DEC, because we grew up there. There was never a lily pond. Somebody dumped their lily pond, koi pond in that lake 5 or 6 years ago, and this is what's happening.
Well, actually, Dottie, you see some of the old pictures in like the 40s, 50s. There were a lot of lily pads in there. I don't know how they got rid of them.
Maybe it was DT, but what is
There
it wasn't. 7th Street, there was no lily pad.
Well, John, you think Cornell Cooperative should be a
They helped
lead?
out. If it wasn't for them, we would not be doing oysters and Gibson Park. They helped me out tremendously.
Right.
And as I said, I'll find out when I get back to Pat, my contact with the DEC, because he grew up right behind the library.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, whatever you can get, we'd appreciate it, John.
Yeah, Mayor.
Ron Gerardo against, I look around the room and not too many people remember, but in the 50s, they drained and bulldozed the lakes.
The 50s?
Yeah. And that's how they got rid of all the life. Everything.
Why did they drain it?
They drained it to clean it.
Or to clean it?
Yeah.
Clean it.
They went in with payloaders and just bulldozed the mud and the weeds and the animals and took it away. That's one way to do it, but
Yeah.
we used to go down there and look at freshwater bass like this, floating, when it happened.
Right.
They come up and that, but it was.
But the reason for draining it in bulldozers was to clean it because it was
That's what
lily
we did.
pads and junk growth?
It was clogged.
It was just clogged?
Clogged with the weeds, yes. So they had to clean it.
Yeah, which,
Like that, there wasn't a DEC that we knew of.
No.
To go after them.
the money and stuff like this is insane because of the disposal and everything else that's
Yeah.
involved. Nothing is unfortunately easy, you know, so. No, we appreciate any input people have for sure. You know, if some people from the lakes actually want to get together and talk and present things to the board and sit with trustees, we're fine with that. You know, any input that we can, any help that we can have, we're accepting. So, all right.
Did I just tell everyone how old I am?
No, I'm doing the math. I ran out of fingers here. Anyone else?
I have a different topic.
Sure.
So just as, again, still Linda Murphy at 97.7. And by the way, thank you all for what you do. It's so time consuming. It's great that you all have either run and or started again running and re-elected. And it's such a big commitment, so thank you. Just so you guys know, between the 18th and the 24th of June, I called the DEC and they pulled 8 dead geese and 1 other dead fowl out of the concourse.
Yeah.
And they were not young.
Yeah,
They
so-
were full grown.
So what happened was the mama goose brought the babies over to the washway. And they got sucked in the washway, got sucked onto the road, and they were in the drain. And actually Mike and his guys pulled them out one time. And the second time, it must have happened, nobody was around. So I think what happens is they just got tired and they drowned.
So it happened over 5 or 6 days. So they weren't all together. They
Okay.
were separate. Because I walked that lake every morning at 6 a.m. And on Tuesday there was 1. And I sent a quick email, no criticism.
No.
Thinking that, okay, hey, FYI, because last year I did the same thing. There was a big gray heron that was dead in the concourse.
Right.
And you guys came out and picked that up. But then the next day there was a second one. And then the next day, I didn't walk, I slept in. And my 2 girlfriends walked and they texted me and said, hey, there's 2 more. And then 3 days later, they were actually
Was it over a
2
weekend
more.
by chance?
No.
So I know the guys pulled stuff like a couple times. They pulled that one drain that's right at the head of the canal, and they pulled them out of it a couple times. But I don't know. I mean, I know that Mike and I and Tom, when we were at the lakes doing the grasses, we pulled a couple dead swans that were kind of in the lakes themselves. But I mean,
So can they go from the lakes to the concourse?
they do. They walk across Montauk Highway.
I mean, underground.
But once they go,
Through the waterway somehow.
but once they go, so here's the other thing: is like the baby swans don't know how to swim yet, right? So when they jump in there, I don't know how to get out.
In the concourse?
But just with the geese, one of the theories was too is that they were in the canal and they went in the pipe, and then the tide came up and they drowned inside there also. So that's because there's no grate on that. So I don't know.
Where is the drain? Is it under Montauk Highway?
Yes. So when
Okay.
the cascade comes underneath, it goes right under Montauk Highway, and there's a big drain on Concourse West at the head of the canal.
Okay.
It goes out through there.
Okay. Well, they retrieved all of them, they sent them to Albany, and they're going to investigate and do an autopsy. If I hear back from them, I'll let you know.
Okay, great.
But it wasn't just geese, it was another something.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other topics? Joe?
Joe Purse, Lakeview Avenue East. I just wanted to join, have we gotten any highway department replacement yet? Still short?
Still short.
Any summer help?
Our summer help just resigned.
Trustee.
Our trustee, our summer help resigned without notice.
Right.
So we have it as of 2 days ago, or last week, I mean, they didn't have it.
No, we just have the 5 guys. When then one takes off, you're down to 4. So that's why we were looking into subbing out some of the stuff, because it also saves us from bringing in employees, salary, benefits.
Have you thought about part-time people?
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, like we said, we had a summer help guy that he was working with us. It was good, and then we gave like 1 day notice, and he was gone.
No, I mean hiring 2 part-time people to fill the full-time replacement for
We could try. I just don't see how it's desirable for people to work part-time like that.
Well, you don't know unless we try.
I mean,
And then during this winter time, if we need an extra man snow removal, we'll have 2 guys instead of just 1 guy. Just an idea right now.
we could try. We're trying to get the summer help right now, but if we bring in 2 guys, do we have to pay them benefits and all, or how many hours?
No, part-time.
No, part-time.
So how many hours is part-time up to?
Less than I could be up to 30 hours.
Part-time could be up to 30 hours?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we can try it, but we can't get guys who want to work.
No, I
You know,
understand.
a full day, you know, so part-time it might be more difficult. So we can try it. We've gone through some guys. Mike, our highway foreman, is good about it. If he has somebody he doesn't feel comfortable with who's going to do the job, he doesn't keep them. He's gone through, I think, 2 or 3 guys already.
Yeah.
So he doesn't wait a year or 2 or just drag anybody. So
They do a great job with what they have. But, you know,
it's hard.
you can see the difference.
It's hard, but that's why, you know, we bring in the company to help around the lakes. We talked to DiGiovanni Landscaping about maybe cutting some of the grasses. We've gotten some numbers from different people. Because in the summertime, again, it's 5 guys. If 1 takes off or 1 is sick, then we're down to 4 guys that can't keep up. The camp is full blown now. If anybody went by the park today, they saw the camp mob with people. It's a great look. But there's a lot of prep and there's a lot of support that we have to do for the camp, for the beaches, for cleaning the garbage. We have a guy come in on Sunday mornings, all during the summer, and he like empties the pails and he checks things out. So we're trying to keep ahead of things, and you know, it's hard. With this amount of people, it's hard.
We always seem to have like special projects every summer. Every summer we have special projects. Like this year, the cutting of the roadways, and you know, our DPW guys got to be there when Andy and his crew's cutting. They can't just go cut. So
I understand.
yeah, and then they have to drain. I mean, it's just, you know, it always seems like we're you know, I talked to Mike. He's like, yeah, we'll be ahead. We'll be back on schedule 2 days, and then something happens. So yeah, I definitely think we could probably use more staff, but you know, we'll also try to minimize costs. So.
Thank you.
Put in a golf course, I bet you'll get John back for a little while.
John, yeah, back. Anyone else?
Chris Pace, 506 North Windsor. I have a couple things. I just round off.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. 1, I've mentioned this before. The age of people that volunteer in this village is high. I don't mean to call anybody old. But I mean, you know, you look around at our meetings. There are hardly any young people.
I want to contradict that. The Historical Society and the Art Council, the Historical Society and Art Council are a great group of middle-aged people. Dottie, what do you think? Middle. So we have a good group of in those.
If you went to the Thursday night Walker Beach night, if you walk down Peters or Lombard, we have so many new young people. They're new to the village, little kids. I don't think they know to join committees and what can we do. So if you don't mind putting out in the next letter that you put out, asking for volunteers, or the email that you put out, so that we can get people involved. Just, you know, more givers and
Chris, I can't let this go. First of all, you got 2 young board members up here who have little kids. Now, I know you don't have kids.
I do not, unfortunately.
So when you have little kids, they have play dates, they have sports, you are trying to just get through your day. And if you get a nice day like this, you're not volunteering, you're taking kids outside riding a bike. Thank God we have a neighborhood we can do that. So I understand what you're saying, but a parent who
my wife yells at me for going over to the park and doing things. I have to sneak around, go. Ask John. I'm planting a new planter in the park. And when did I ask for it, John? The day after my wife leaves.
I'm getting to my point. Everything comes in due time. So the parents of the young kids who see the volunteers out here doing stuff realize, wow, we really need to give back if I had time. So people like Bill see that and they say, well, you know what? I want to be more involved. Not everybody's going to do that, but we have such a great network of people in our village. I have no fear that we will have future volunteers. I have no fear of that at all. So let your mind rest with that.
All right, two.
Speaking of what she said in regard to thank you, I know that it's been something that's gone down, been passed around, but never solidified. How do we go about making a stipend for mayor and trustees? Because the thing about it is, time is money. Time is whatever. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but it puts a gratitude, small value to it.
You know, Chris, you're sitting in a church right now, so if someone sends the basket value or something.
No, I'm a serious question.
Serious question, Mr. Mayor, takes a local.
Takes a local law?
Yes.
Takes a local law.
Thank you. Speaking of local laws, John, if you don't mind, I brought it up before about the 5,000-pound vehicle. It's an Iceland actual law about. Gross vehicle weight is 5,000 pounds. And that's an antiquated law, right? John can't drive his truck. It's 5,000 pounds down the. There's 100 and something electric vehicles that are over 5,000 pounds. What do I have to do to get the ball rolling to get a new law for Iceland, or can we oversee that, because we can't enforce it if it's just ridiculed? 5,000. No one's going to enforce a 5,000 pound, and because I want to get the trucks off the roads.
It's a state law endorsed by the town of Iceland. The village has no jurisdiction on those kinds of traffic control devices. The best thing to do would be go speak to your local council and see what you can do in Albany. That the state has to come with the state. Weight regulations on trucks, cars, certain motor vehicles, etc. That's purely state. The village has no ability at all to even pass a law to even recommend anything. You have to go to local councilmen and then all.
Next one. You mentioned striping for around the park. We have the camp here, or other areas, and we said there was going to be something down the road, so we could do it all together. Is there any kind of dates for?
I don't have a date for it yet, but I asked Mike to start making a list, because I think 1,000 feet is the minimum. So I can check with him tomorrow, because you want to put some stripes lines by the park, right? So,
please.
All right.
And just one thing.
That's it. Last one.
If you don't mind, can we revisit that, cleaning up that area with the Long Island Railroad? We're going to have some kind of meeting about that.
All right. Give me a call.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming.
Are you going to go? These two resolutions go to you.